From losing his mother while struggling to break out as an actor, to missing out on roles because of bigger stars in the industry, here's the scandal that nearly made Pedro Pascal quit acting. Back in the 1990s, he was trying to make it big in New York City, just coming off of studying at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. But life wasn't easy for him. He was getting his butt kicked left and right, and those auditions were like a roller coaster of disappointments. He said he died so many deaths just because he'd get small roles that'd be immediately killed off. But his delusional self-determination and the fact that he wasn't really skilled at anything else kept him going. So after hustling in New York, he packed his bags and headed to Los Angeles to try his luck there. And guess what? He managed to land some gigs, like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But life wasn't done throwing challenges at him. Just when things were looking up, tragedy struck and he lost his beloved mother at the young age of 24. That hit him hard, and he was struggling to deal with the loss while trying to pursue his dreams. It must have been so tough for Pedro to keep going, but he didn't give up. He pushed through the pain and kept on acting. And man, are we grateful for that, because now you get to see him in epic roles like in The Mandalorian and The Last of Us, and he's killing it. Pascal's a force to be reckoned with. He says that even in the face of rejection and heartache, if you keep that fire burning inside you, incredible things can happen. It was tough for Pedro to make it in the acting world, but all along, he had an angel on his side, Sarah Paulson, the talented actress from American Horror Story. She was like a superhero buddy to the actor during those tough times and would even give him her per diem money from her gigs so he could have something to eat. All the while, Pedro had this ticking time bomb in his head, and he decided if he didn't make it big by the time he hit 29, he'd call it quits on his acting dreams. Can you imagine the pressure? He had this vision of fame and success when he was a kid, and wanted to be a big star with a fancy house. But as he grew older, reality hit him like a ton of bricks, and realized he was in his 40s with no house and no fame. He thought it was time to grow up and let go of those childish dreams. But he made one final push, and look at him now. A megastar in epic roles like The Mandalorian and Game of Thrones. But can you believe it's been 3 whole years since got waved its epic goodbye? It's always been a problem in the actor's career because he always used to get roles in which he'd be killed off. But as Prince Oberyn, he had zero issues with how his character's wild ride ended. In fact, he loved that notorious and gruesome death scene of his and wears it like a badge of honor. The fighter strolled into King's Landing and stole our hearts, and had a serious vendetta against the Mountain for killing his sister. His death scene is legendary, and fans rank it as one of the top 3 moments in Game of Thrones history. But even with such an epic moment in his acting career, Pascal started wondering if he had reached the pinnacle of his acting journey. His career had been bumpy since he lost out on plenty of opportunities and had to scrape by with tiny roles. But Pedro's been kicking butt and taking names as Javier Peña in Narcos, and that role was totally life-changing for his career. But did you know he's been in many other TV shows that might have slipped your mind? Way back when he went by Alexander Pascal, he made a cool one-off appearance in the legendary cop drama NYPD Blue. He played a goth kid named Shane Dio Morrissey in Season 8, Episode 9, Oh Golly Goth. The nerd factor was off the charts in that episode. We got to see Henry Simmons from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. grilling Pascal multiple times, but it was only a 1-episode role for the poor actor, and as well as he performed, those were the only kinds of roles that Hollywood was offering him. Nurse Jackie was another show that was a hit. Edie Falco nailed it with her performance, bagging another Emmy like a boss. And guess what? Our man Pedro made a guest appearance in it too. How cool is that? In the 2nd season, he pops in for a one-off role as Steve, a worried father. He and his wife are all concerned that their little boy might have cystic fibrosis. It's a short but sweet gig, and it's pretty heartwarming to see him in a caring and compassionate dad role. Maybe it was foreshadowing for how he eventually became the internet's daddy. The whole medical dramedy vibe of Nurse Jackie was perfect for his acting chops, and I only wish he could have been a more permanent character. Fast forward to the DCEU, and Pedro's got some serious superhero action going on. In Wonder Woman 1984, he took on the role of Maxwell Lord, one of the central protagonists, one of his biggest roles yet. And it's not the first time he's crossed paths with Diana Prince. Back in the early 2010s, there was an attempt to launch a Wonder Woman TV series, and Pascal was in that too. Yup, He played the role of an LAPD detective named Ed Indelicato, and the show was all set to star Adriana Palicki as Wonder Woman, complete with the iconic outfit, golden lasso, and tiara. But unfortunately, with Pedro's unlucky streak, the show never made it to our TV screens. It's wild to think about what the actor's career could have been with that TV series. But hey, everything worked out just right in the end, his fame has skyrocketed, and he's leaving his mark on Hollywood. You'd think studios would be tripping over themselves to offer him roles, but the beloved internet daddy was this close to being in the Vampire Diaries and lost out on the part. Can you imagine him with all those vampire hotties ruling over the streets of New Orleans? Julie Plec, the producer, was head over heels for Pedro and said she was fangirling vibes, but in the end they picked Charles Michael Davis, who was 10 years younger. They wanted that immortal vibe to shine through, and Charles brought the swagger they were after. Plus, some of the producers thought Pascal was too old to fit in. It's a bummer he missed out on the vampire adventure. But even if he didn't sink his teeth into the Vampire Diaries, he's still slaying in Hollywood and has been rocking it in HBO's The Last of Us. But guess what? He wasn't the only hotshot they had their eyes on for Joel Miller. There were some serious contenders for this role, and rumors were flying all around that Matthew McConaughey and Mahershala Ali were also in the running for the lead role. Can you imagine those two powerhouse actors taking on the gritty world of The Last of Us? Because it would have been mind-blowing. Craig Mazin, the Genius showrunner, said he chatted with McConaughey and he was in talks to don the role. And as for Mahershala, they discussed him and he was right up there in the top 3 contenders. But it didn't go further than that. Pascal was actually on their radar from the start. But the poor guy was about to lose out on another amazing role again, because his agent said he was unavailable. And thankfully, right at the last second, Mazin found out his schedule cleared up. So the stars aligned for the actor, once and for all. Fans went head over heels for his take on Joel, and he was nicknamed the internet's daddy. He's become the man of the hour, starring in not one but 2 hit TV shows lately. Apart from rocking it as Oberyn Martell back in the day, he starred alongside Nicolas Cage in the unbearable weight of massive talent. Craig couldn't stop praising the actor, saying he deserved to make it big because Hollywood never bent over backward for him, and he was an outcast for so long. But the actor fought tooth and nail, and he nailed it every single time. His future's looking bright too, with Jack Black calling him out to play Wario in a Super Mario Bros. Movie sequel. How cool is that? Jack thinks they need a truly villainous villain, and Pascal's the only man for the job. So from missing out on roles because of bigger stars, to losing his mother while struggling to break out as an actor. That was the scandal that nearly made Pedro Pascal quit acting.